So a month ago, I did a video talking about what characters from Warhammer, both fantasy and 40k, could work as characters for Dead by Daylight. I thought it'd be kind of fun to revisit that video. And yeah, as always, I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. I'm just curious to see what because you guys in the other video, in the previous one, had some really good ideas. Like I liked a lot of people said one of the Night Lords or Conrad Kurz. I wanted to stay away from most of the Space Marine type characters. There were a few, but I figured they'd be too fast or they'd have to nerf some things. Really, the only character I really thought like Warhammer. Well, I did think of Conrad Kurz or maybe one of the Night Lords or the Death Guard. But I did think that some characters like Fabius Bile or others, those ones could really work. And I still have some thoughts on that. There were some really cool ones. I wanted to read them out. Nagash. See, Nagash is one that people have threw around. That one's a god, but then again, they did talk about Vecna from Dungeons and Dragons, so that could work, I guess. That could still work. The Chaos Cultists or Dark Eldar, those are really cool. Or a Gene Stealer. See, Gene Stealers, I think, would probably be your best pick if you were going to do any of the Tyranids, because the Gene Stealers are scary in their own right. So a Gene Stealer would be really cool. Chaos Cultist, of course. Lictor. Lictor was one I picked. You see, the Lictor was the Tyranid I picked that I wanted to have for if you were to pick any Tyranid type character for the killer in Dead by Daylight, I would say the Lictor. It just makes so much thematic sense. It is a little bigger, but there is a thing where the Lictor's size does vary in some cases. So you could just have that this is a younger one who's still like consuming biomass. So you could do that. I think that would be really cool. The scythe-like claws, I think that would work. I think, yeah, someone said like a warrior class, but yeah, Tyranid. If you were going to go with Tyranid in terms of which one, definitely say Gene Stealer or Lictor. Let's see what else. I'm just kind of looking through them because you guys had some good ones. Vlad von Karstein. You see, I love that. I really love the idea of one of the von Karsteins. But the thing is, we already have Dracula in the game. We have Castlevania game era Dracula in the game. I said game like 3 times. I'm sorry. So would it be redundant to have a vampire? Like, that's kind of the big thing, is that would it be kind of redundant to have another vampire? I don't think so. But in order to keep people from like bitching and moaning, oh, Vlad von Karstein is Vlad von Karstein and Dracula, so, it's hard to tell. And I'm like, guys, kind of is easy to tell them apart. But I think your basic game player would just kind of argue it's just another Dracula ripoff. So maybe my pick, if I was going to go with one of the vampires, I'd probably say Conrad. Yeah, Conrad. I'm not picking Manfred. Manfred can go fuck himself. Yeah, Manfred can go straight up fuck himself. Conrad von Karstein, he's definitely, like, he's scary, he's quick, he's also just absolutely batshit. And also, I think it wouldn't hurt to give, like, he's kind of the bastard child when you talk about the von Karsteins. Yeah, everyone has a lot of respect and love for Vlad, everyone despises Manfred, with good reason, but everyone's just kind of forgets, Conrad's just kind of in the middle. So, if we're not going to have Conrad Kurz, how about Conrad von Karstein? Let's see. Dark Eldar. That's one that's been thrown around. Have it be on, like, the location be a section of Kamaraj. That's actually I really love that. And you could really play with the with the territory in of itself. Some people said Conrad Kurz. I kind of like, while I think that's a cool idea, I think Conrad Kurz or any of the the fallen Primarchs, or even a fallen Space Marine might be a little too much. I did say in the video I think it could work, but then overthinking it, I'm thinking it over again. I'm like, man, that's just a little too. That's just a little too overpowered, and I don't think anyone would be happy if they nerfed them. Let's see. Some people said Fabius Bile or a flayed one. Oh god, a flayed one. If we're going to go with Necrons, a flayed one is one of the flayed ones is perfect. The claws, just the scary aesthetic, the speed. Yeah. It's not too fast. That's the thing, is that it wouldn't be too fast, but once it catches you, oh lord. So, if I was to pick any, I think if we're going to go Necron, flayed one would be perfect. But yeah, going back to the pick I had, and he is technically a Space Marine if you really want to get into semantics. He is technically a Space Marine apothecary, but my pick for 40k wise, my number one pick for that video, for that idea, if we're gonna go 40k wise for Dead by Daylight, is Fabius Bile. The body horror, I think, also the mechanical appendages would be cool to use as a weapon. Yeah, he just kind of screams body horror in his own, scary in his own right, and he's a fan favorite. I think people would be cool with it. A lot of people, yeah, those were a lot of them. Someone said Abaddon, if only just to make fun of him, and I'm not opposed to that. As for some other characters, we're going to go to a Warhammer fantasy side. My number one pick for a Warhammer, if we're going to go Warhammer fantasy, my number one pick for a killer, if we're going to go that route, yeah, if we're going to go that route, I am going to say straight up Queek Headtaker. Queek Headtaker, or just your regular, it has to be Skaven, right? Skaven are strictly something. When you think Warhammer, you think Skaven. They're scary, they're fast, but Queek is definitely a fan favorite, so Queek also, of course, he's got those close-up swords, definitely deals some damage with that. And also, could you just imagine the dialogue Queek would have whenever he's just fucking butchering people? It'd be great. Now, Survivor-wise, a lot of people, there was a general consensus that Caiaphas Cain makes the most sense, and I agree. Caiaphas was my pick, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but what about his weapons? And I do agree that I think that we do, the whole thing of characters not having weapons, actual heroes like Ash, and now Trevor Belmont, because it's even without their weapons, they can still fight, but it makes so much sense when, even without weapons, it makes so much sense for Caiaphas, because he's a fucking coward. Of course, if he doesn't have weapons, he's not going to fight. He's just going to bullshit his way out of situations. So, it makes so much sense, if you were to have an actual character, Caiaphas Cain. If you used Yarick, no one would believe a dude with a giant metal claw is going to start running away from you. Or is going to run away from your killer instead of stand and fight. Caiaphas, he's very quick-witted, and he doesn't like to fight. His first instinct is, run away! And also, I'd give him an ability where, if you're running with someone else, you could have him grab the other person and throw them behind you, and the killer could go after them like a distraction. Because Cain has done that, or at the very least thought of it. So, I think we're all in the general consensus. It is so bright. I don't know why there's light kicking over there. But yeah, I think the general consensus is that if we were to have a survivor from Warhammer, either Sigmar or 40k, Caiaphas Cain makes the most sense out of fucking anybody. But yeah, so I thought I'd just kind of revisit this video. The first one, I had a few ideas here and there. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to revisit and talk about people's suggestions and whatnot. But yeah, if you guys have any other new ideas for what killers and or survivors should be from Warhammer should be in Dead by Daylight, please comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. This was fun to come back to. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.